Hi, this is Ryan Neal from the USA offices of Neal's Saddlery and Harness, CowBoy sewing machines, and high-tech sewing machines. Today we're going to do a short demonstrational video showing you the lubrication points on our new 7360 patcher. I'm going to go ahead and start right in. I'm going to use this oil bottle here just to demonstrate where the holes are at. Now, I'm not actually going to be putting oil in the holes, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you where the oiling points are. Usually what we tell people as far as frequency, as far as oiling this machine, the manuals specify usually after every 6 to 8 hours of continuous sewing, it's a good idea to apply oil on the machine. If you haven't ran the machine for a long period of time, a month, 2 months, it's always a good idea to oil the machine before you use it. Usually what I recommend doing is oiling the machine the night before you plan on using the machine. The reason why is that any oil that the machine doesn't want, it will drain out of the machine. We sometimes recommend that you put a paper towel underneath the presser foot of the machine after oiling so it catches all the oil that it wants to get rid of. And then also down on the pedal, we recommend placing a paper towel, or it depends on what type of stand you have it on, or you can place a paper towel directly underneath the cylinder arm of the machine because it will leak oil that it doesn't want. So you obviously don't want to create a big mess on the floor or anything like that. So I'm going to start and show, we're going to start from the rear of the machine and work our way forward. There are also some lubrication points on the back side of the machine. I'll be spinning the machine around in the video to show you where those rear lubrication points are. So starting on the rear of the machine, we have this oil hole up here. The oil holes are generally marked in red, and so we want to go ahead and put about 2 to 3 drops of oil in this hole right here. And that oil hole will lubricate the slide mechanism here. It also doesn't hurt to put a few drops of oil directly where the slide contacts the casting. That doesn't hurt anything at all. A lot of people ask me, well, where should I oil my machine? And I always tell people, anywhere where you see 2 metal parts rubbing together is a great place to oil. There's not really, even though these oil holes are marked on the machine, they're the critical lubrication points, but oil is very cheap insurance. Oil will keep your machine running for decades. So I tell people anywhere where you see 2 metal parts rubbing together is an excellent place to oil. So moving on to the next lubrication point, it's going to be right down here. There's a oil hole marked in red. And then we're going to move forward on the machine here. You'll see there's another lubrication point right here. We want to oil that with a couple, 2 or 3 drops of oil. Moving further left on the sewing machine, there's a lubrication point here as well. It is marked in red. And now we're going to move up to the top of the machine, and you'll see there's another lubrication point here marked in red as well. Now, there are some lubrication points on this machine that are not marked in red. That's also a very good idea to oil. One of them I like to oil, one of the things I recommend is this linkage mechanism right here. Put a couple drops of oil on either side of the linkage. You would also want to lubricate this hole. This is marked in red. You can lubricate this hole here as well. There's a cam mechanism back behind here, and you can rotate the machine a little bit to see where the different points and parts of that cam. You can go ahead and put a few drops of oil there as well. Also, the needle bar, as it goes down through the casting, it's also a good idea to put a few drops of oil on the needle bar itself as it does slide through the entire casting of the machine. So that pretty much covers the front end of the machine and all the critical lubrication points. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn the machine around so that you can see some of the lubrication points that are on the back side of the sewing machine. So now you can see the slide mechanism. We have the needle bar turned so that you can access this slide mechanism. Again, you can put a few drops of oil along the walls of the casting right here. That ensures the slide moves up and down very easily. We have a matching lubrication point back here on the long transom, or the long arm that runs across the machine. Also a good idea to lubricate there. I also like to lubricate a few drops of oil where the actual arm meets the casting journal right there. Now we're going to go back up to here. This oil hole we've already discussed. That's just a one-directional hole. It can be oiled from the front of the machine. But there are 2 other oil holes, one right here and one right here that also require some additional lubrication. Finally, we can access the back of this cam mechanism right here. We can put a few drops of oil around those areas as well. We also like to lubricate the presser foot lifter mechanism right here, because that runs against this little bar right here, and so that we need to put a few drops of oil to keep things nice and smooth there as well. Also, if you look at this bar that actually raises this piece right here, we like to put a few drops of oil in between this and the keeper bar, which is also right here. So general guideline as far as lubricating your 7360 patcher: don't be afraid to use oil, and don't be afraid to use a lot of oil while you're using the machine. Any oil that the machine wants to get rid of, it will get rid of. One final point for lubrication on this machine is the hook and the bobbin area. Now, we have a coated hook and bobbin for this machine. The advantage of that being is it makes it extremely wear resistant. But what we recommend is in between the hook holder and in between the hook itself is where we recommend putting just one drop of oil. You don't want to put a whole lot of oil in here because you'll flood the bobbin case and the hook area, and that'll make your thread really, really greasy. But just one little drop of oil between the bobbin case and the driver mechanism for the hook is all that's required. So we do have the hook coated with a special diamond-like compound that prevents wear and also provides a certain degree of lubrication. That will allow this hook to last much, much longer than the original machines that this design was built after. So, you know, again, oil as much as you want liberally. Any oil that the machine doesn't want, it's going to get rid of. Make sure that you put paper towels underneath the presser foot to catch the excess oil. Oil's cheap insurance, folks, so just make sure you use it. Keep your machine clean and oiled, and it will last you for decades and decades. This is Ryan Neal from the USA offices of Neal Satherine Harness, CowBoy sewing machines, and high-tech sewing machines. If you have any additional questions on the 7360 patcher, please feel free to call me direct at area code 330-692-1418, and I thank you for your time today.